If I made 400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about financial guru, expert, whatever you want to call him, Grant Cardone, saying that $400,000 per year is not enough. $35,000 a month, you can't live on that kind of money, says Grant Cardone. Now, that is crazy to say because a few things before we get to the obvious, like 400 grand a year makes you rich. A few things. If you make 400 grand a year as household income, meaning two people, you're in the top 1.8% of earners in the U.S. Now, if you zoom out to the entire world, you are at 0.00 something. You are at a fraction of a percent of people in the world that make that kind of money. Okay, 400 grand a year makes you rich, regardless of where you live. You could live in Paris, France, London, England, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Illinois, New York, Miami, Florida. You could live anywhere on God's green earth, maybe not necessarily some oil-rich city-state like UAE or Kuwait, maybe. But anywhere else, you're going to be rich off of that kind of money. You could live right in smack dab Silicon Valley, right next to a celebrity. You're going to be rich with that kind of money. 400 grand a year, that is a lot of money. I don't care if you got kids, take care of your Meemaw, your Pawpaw, whatever. That makes you rich. I don't understand why Grant Cardone would say anything like that. Well, then again, maybe I do. Grant Cardone is a very rich guy, has been for a long time. I don't think he grew up rich. Y'all fact check me on that in the comments. I don't believe he grew up rich, but he's been rich in his adult life for a very long time. So maybe he's used to live in a certain kind of way, and that kind of makes sense to him. He's dealing with, millions of dollars. He might be close to a billionaire if he's not a billionaire already. So he sees that kind of money as small potatoes. But before I go any further, let's go ahead and watch the full clip, and then I'll come back and continue to give my commentary. And of course, this will be in the description. Thank you to my man, SuperSly75, for uploading this short on his YouTube channel. Y'all check him out.
If I made 400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being.
Crazy.
400 grand. How do you make sense of $35,000 a month? You guys haven't done the math. You have not done the math because you cannot live on 400 grand a year. If I made
Okay, that's the full clip that's kind of floating around. If I can find the full podcast or talk, whatever that was from, I'll link to that in the description. But that's crazy to say you can't live on 400 grand a year. That's nuts. Let's go back and talk about money a little bit. This is not a financial channel. I'm no financial expert, but I know a little bit about money. I've been self-employed for the past, how long it's been now? 15 years? Since 2007. So we're about to be on year 16 coming up here pretty soon. Okay, so I've been self-employed for a very long time. This is pretty much what I do. Before I was doing this, I was involved with web design, graphic design, that type of thing. I've done a little bit of everything. Consultation, whatever, printing and shipping, I've done it all. I got a store now, had a store before, whatever. So I understand the ups and downs and how to do with money and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of like right in my wheelhouse. Let's get to a few stats here first. As I said, if you make 400 grand a year, you're in the top 1.8% of household earners. If you are just a single person making that, you're probably below 1% in the United States. Because household income, and the way it works is whoever lives in the household puts money into the pot. So if you have, husband and wife, typical is what happens, husband and wife, then their money combined will equal up to the household income. Maybe there's a husband and a wife, a grandparent, a cousin, a friend, they contribute as well. Roommates, whatever it is, they all contribute to the same pot of a household income, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. As a single person in the USA, well, let's say for now, a single male, the median income for a single male in the USA is about $38,400. $38,400. Now, If you look at the average income, it might be higher than that, probably like 50 or 60, maybe not that high. But the median income is more accurate. Why? Because you don't average in the very low people, the low or no income earners. And you also don't average in the Grant Cardones, the Bill Gates and Elon Musks and Jeff Bezos, the uber rich people that just have this extraordinary net worth and income and everything else. Okay. You don't factor those guys into it. If you just take all the income in the United States, every person's stated income on a sheet of paper, if you could do that, and you point to the dead center, that is the median. That is a more accurate representation of where the average man is in America. And for women, that same number is 25,000 and some change. I think it was 25,800, something like that. And for the men, it was 38,400. So we're not talking about 400 grand. We're not talking about 200 grand. We're not talking about 100 grand. 38,400 median income. So if you make 400,000, you're doing very well. You're doing amazingly well. So what he's saying right there is just ridiculous. I think people have a skewed sense of what money is all about and how it works and how they live. You see, when you dealing with a guy like Grant Cardone, he's used to going on trips and vacations and buying big cars, swiping the credit card, putting the car in the credit card, buying in the cash, getting leverage in debt, whatever. He's used to that kind of willing and dealing high lifestyle for the past 15, 20, 30, how many years he's been doing it. But for the average guy or girl, it's check to check. We're trying to put money together to pay the rent. We're trying to be able to afford things. That's why the inflation argument kind of misses a lot of the elite people because it doesn't really affect them. Sure, if you are a rich person, you don't want to pay more for a thing than what you think you have to, but it doesn't really affect you in a serious way because you're able to do it. You're still able to get X, Y, and Z thing accomplished. You don't have that problem of not being able to get it done because of the money. But if you're a regular normie out here just trying to make ends meet, you go into the grocery store and the box of eggs is, or a carton of eggs is more than what it used to be, 15% more, 25% more, it makes a difference. And the biggest thing for regular normies out here, like myself and many others, is that gas. You know, all them gas prices, oh my goodness. You go from $2.25 to $3.25, that $1 can ruin your entire budget. A guy like Grant Cardone doesn't really care about that, but the average person does. That's why the administration artificially reduced it by sending out the oil reserves and pretty much depleting those right before the election, because he knew that the masses of us would vote on a thing like the gas being way too high or just things in general costing too much, costing 25% more, 30% more, trying to go to Chick-fil-A or something like that, and that's costing 15, 20% more for a meal. That matters to the average person out here because we don't have that kind of money like that. You know, I see these arguments on the internet talking about relationships and, oh, well, if the man can't provide 100%, if we're splitting the bills and I don't want to be with them, well, welcome to reality, ma'am or sir, whoever making the argument. Welcome to reality. The majority of mothers in America work at a rate of 75%. So 3 out of every 4 mothers in America work. They got kids. They can't just stay at home. They got to go out there and work because they got to contribute to the household. Even in a suburban environment where you think, oh, they're rich, they got plenty of money. They might not be. They might not be. When I bought my house, and I won't say how much money I make because, hey, I'm not really into that. You know, you could call me broke, whatever. That's totally fine. You know what? Yep, I'm broke. You know, I smoke crack for a living. How about that? I don't care what you think about me, but anyway, I digress. When I was qualifying to buy my home, I spoke to the actual the agent, the lending agent, if that's the appropriate term, and they were telling me, or he was telling me that the minimum income you need to purchase this house, which was less than 400,000, but not that much less than 400,000, you have to make 61,000 a year. I'm like, wow, that's cutting it close. But you see what I'm saying? 400,000, 61,000. So a lot of people that live in these nice big houses, they might not make that much money, even in a joint household. Somebody make 45, Other make 55, and they come together to make quite a bit of money. They make 90, or 100, pardon me. But is that 400? But that 100 is very good. That 400 is almost elusive to most people. It's very elusive. So yeah, shout out to everybody that is rich, balling out of control, not knowing what the average Norman in America goes through, not knowing how much things cost, not knowing how to really spend your money and budget your money. As I close, I'm going to add one more thing here. A lot of people understand how to spend money. They can make $50,000 a year and live great. They can go on vacations, and that could be the only household income. They could do whatever. They might live in a place where it's not super expensive. They're not living in the heart of New York City, Manhattan somewhere, Times Square, Fifth Avenue. They're not living in San Francisco, right in the middle of downtown, or right by Nancy Pelosi's house. They're not living Lakeshore Drive, Chicago. They're living in a reasonable place, smaller area, making their money, taking care of the kids, taking care of their wife, going to church, going to vacation twice a year. They understand how to manage their money and live responsibly. While others, they got to have the latest gadget. They're on Amazon shopping. They're buying a bunch of crap they don't need, a bunch of Chinese crap that'll break apart in 6 months to a year, at max, at best. They don't understand. So they spending, and they're wondering why they can't get ahead. And they say, hey, you know what? I need to make 200 grand to be able to make it. Well, maybe if you didn't spend all your discretionary income on complete garbage, you would have more in your pocket and you wouldn't be stressed every day trying to figure out how you're going to be able to pay the bills. Maybe that is more important. Not saying everybody that deals with financial distress is just irresponsible, but I'm saying some people, like a Grant Cardone, just don't understand how much money really, how to stretch a dollar. They don't really get it. They just spend. A lot of guys do, but a lot of guys don't. And I think the guys that do have no issue making less than 400 grand, but the guys that don't, they want to spend every single dollar. Oh, it's never enough. They need to make $1 million per year, and that still might not be enough because the problem is in their habits, their spending habits, how they see money, how they see the world, how they see their own life. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what Grant Cardone said here? Is 400 grand a year an embarrassing amount of money to make? And you need to make, I don't know, 800,000, a million, 10 billion, trillion to be considered successful? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This was completely ridiculous. I mean, I've watched Grant Cardone before. He has some okay advice, but after seeing the clip like that, I'm like, man, I'm not listening to this guy. He's a quack. He's a quack. If he believes that, then what does he believe about cash in general? Doesn't really seem to be a person that has his mind in reality. Not whatsoever. Maybe I do some financial advice myself because I've had no money and I've had some money and I understand how to live both ways. Like if I was to go broke right now and lose every dollar in my pocket, I'd be totally fine. I would not be crying about not making $400,000 a year. I would not be in that space at all. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.